Hello, this is Daniel Mart, and today I'm gonna be reviewing the 11th episode of season 4 of The Walking Dead, Claimed. So yeah, this was pretty intense episode. Period. Um, yeah. So as usual, as review goes, I'll do a quick synopsis, likes and dislikes, and then I'll rate it. But before that, for those who haven't watched this episode, you missed it, or sorry, had something. Maybe you missed it, or you're just catching up to the show or something, if for whatever reason you haven't watched it yet, I'll give you a couple seconds to, watch another video or whatever, watch the actual episode Claimed, and then come back here and watch this video review, because I'm pretty sure you're gonna like it. I'll give you a couple seconds, starting now. No. Okay, so a couple seconds ended, 10 seconds as usual. But yeah, if you haven't left for whatever reason and you still haven't watched the episode, well, don't blame me. Don't comment below or message me or whatever that I didn't give you a fair warning. I did. So yeah, as I said before, 11th episode of season 4 of The Walking Dead, Claimed. And as usual, quick synopsis, likes and dislikes, and then I'll rate it. Basically this group follows not this episode follows two groups. One group is Rick, Michonne, and Carl's group, and the other one being the Glenn, Abraham, Tara, Rosita, Eugene, and Tara. I think Tara, Glenn, that big group. We only follows these two groups. So basically, since it's split between the two groups, you each have the two different plots. With Glenn and Abraham's group, on their side you have basically Glenn is wanting to find Maggie, obviously, but Abraham won't let him, and basically saying they're trying to find a cure for the disease or something like that. And yeah, they say Eugene is a scientist and he's been talking with people from that are in DC with it through his walkie-talkie or whatever. And yeah, that's basically it. For them, we focused more on Rick's group, but we did see a little bit of them, a little bit of action from them. Then we saw a few walker kills from them. That's pretty cool. Yeah. Now on Rick's side, you have Rick, Michonne, and Carl. Michonne and Carl went off, separated from Rick to get some supplies. You have Michonne and Carl, who they're raiding a couple of houses, trying to get supplies, and what they're doing is basically bonding. They're asking each other a little bit about their life before the apocalypse. Um, and they're kind of discussing Michonne and her family before the apocalypse. If you guys remember that flashback 2 episodes ago, with the baby and the two men, Mike and Terry. Yeah, we also find out that her baby's name is called Andre Anthony, or was called Andre Anthony. It was 3 years old. And they never mentioned that in the comics, nor the Michonne one-shot special thing. They never mentioned the actual baby's name. So yeah, pretty sure they didn't actually mention she actually had a baby. Actually, no, they mentioned she had kids, but I don't think it was babies. I think it was like 2 daughters. But whatever. I need to reread that part. But besides the point, they're basically talking about Michonne's life. Then you have Carl kind of talking a little bit about his life. Saying how he hates soy milk. And then they kind of get into Judith territory. They really don't want to talk about that at the moment. And after that, what's his name? Carl. During the raids, he basically becomes like shut off, kind of a little bit. He becomes more serious, a little bit, and until Michonne starts opening up, and then they start kind of having a little bit more fun. Then you have Rick, which I think has to be the best part of this episode. Basically you have Rick, and he was at first he was like sleeping, taking a nap. Then these men come in, and he gets under the bed he was sleeping in. You basically hear appears like a couple men torturing or murdering this other man. Then you have this other guy from that group, presumably, I assume. He gets on the, he's searching, walking around. Doesn't find Rick, so he gets on the bed, and then his companion basically says like, help me find supplies, or like, I want the bed. If we're gonna be staying here, I get the bed, and let's just go find supplies and stuff like that. Um, they get into a brawl. Then the rest of the group, which it seems to be at least 5 to no more than 7 men, I assume. Let's see. There was the guy on the bed, the guy that got chokehold, the guy that was in the bathroom. They mentioned another guy, and then the guy on the porch. And then was the guy on the porch the same guy who was bouncing the ball? I don't know. 5 to 6 men at tops. Okay. Kind of funny because actually no other names. Thank the wiki of Harley, Len, Tony, shit, Harley, Len, Tony, Joe, and the other men were kind of unnamed. I think one of them was no, not Bob. Whatever. Besides the point. Sorry, huge Walking Dead fan. Besides the point. Forget their names. Whatever. Basically, these men were raiding the house trying to find supplies, and Rick has to kind of try to escape, and it's very intense in my opinion. Yeah, I mean, he he murders this one guy in the bathroom, for God's sake. He takes his rifle, and I think it was also his coat. The guy he murdered, his coat, or maybe a coat that was just there, maybe Rick's own coat, or that he got from the house. I don't know. Um, yeah, he basically escapes, and as Michonne and Carl are coming back, he runs away. Hoping that they don't see him. Along with Michonne and Carl before they enter the house, and they run away, and eventually they find this overturned box car from a train, um, that says Terminus. So yeah, this episode really brought the horror back, in my opinion, from that's really been missing in the last few episodes or even seasons. Yeah, in my opinion, I mean, the whole Rick sequence being in the house, that was pretty intense. You also have a little bit of humor there, with Carl and Michonne, and yeah, but damn, all the scenes with Rick were very intense, extremely intense, very intense. I mean, there was parts that I actually thought he was gonna die, in my opinion. So that's how intense it was. I don't think I've ever been in, I don't think that I've ever thought. I think the last time I thought Rick would die was maybe in the series premiere, and that's it. I mean, but yeah, they've really brought back the horror in the show, which is good. The whole, I was kind of wondering as to how they're gonna have Glenn and Abraham, how they're gonna interact when Abraham wants to do one thing and Glenn wants to do the other thing. That was pretty cool to see, and you have a few action scenes. Yeah. The characters at the moment, Eugene, Rosita, and Abraham. Abraham's kind of a dick, just like in the comics. Well, when he was first introduced in the comics, but the difference is that in this one, he's arguing with Glenn, who just lost who's trying to find his wife. In the comics, it was against Rick, who he literally just lost his wife. So you see the difference. Also, Rosita, she's there. Not much to say. She's not really useful. Not even in the comics that much. She's just like I guess plot point or whatever. Plot mover. I don't know. And Eugene, he's kind of awkward, but I do think we should watch out for him, and not only because even if they're gonna do the same thing they are, with comics, which they kind of are, they wanted to go to Washington. I still think that we should watch out for Eugene a bit, because he does seem to have there is something darker that I think they're gonna try to develop, around him, more darker themes or whatever. Yeah. So I really don't like exactly how Abraham was handled at points in this episode, and Rosita, I don't really give a shit about her. And Eugene, watch out for him is all I have to say. But overall, they were pretty decent. The whole Glenn and Abraham interaction was good. As for Rick, that was all intense, all intense sequences, and for the small comedy bits, comedy, emotional bits with Michonne and Carl, they were good. You had the thing with the crazy cheese, hasn't been opened yet, whatever. Then her offering a bit to Carl, and she's like, no, let's just get some food. That was pretty cool. And the last thing, I think I mentioned this, was the Terminus that was at the boxcar. I really do think Terminus will eventually is gonna become something. It's gonna become a huge place in this TV series. Now, exactly what it is, I mean, I don't know. It could be. I mean, the next major location or locations, depending on how you want to see it, would be Alexandria, Hilltop, Kingdom, and Sanctuary. Now, they all pretty much came around the same time. Well, not really, but their roles in the comics are pretty similar. So, yeah, yeah. So, as to what terminates, I may do a review on that. Not review, but video discussion on that. But, at the moment, I think that, eh, I have to give my thoughts, on whether it's a trap and exactly what it's gonna end up being. Cause I mean, you have the radio calls, and you've already had two like posters or what, not posters, but signs pointing towards Terminus. So it will be interesting to see. Overall, this was a pretty well done episode. I think one of the better episodes of the whole series overall, and that's mostly due to the fact of bringing back the horror in this episode. I think it's the second best episode of season 4 so far, right after Too Far Gone, the mid-season final, in my opinion. So yeah, I'm really excited to see the next episode, which seems to be revolved mostly around Daryl and Beth. That'd be kind of awkward because Daryl and Beth don't really go good. In my opinion. I mean, yeah, one's too emotional, one's too quiet and too much of a loner at that moment. So yeah, but besides the point. Right now for the rate on a scale of 1 to 10, 1 being the worst, 10 being the best, and 6 being decent. What I would rate claimed, the name of the episode for The Walking Dead is an 8.5 out of 10. Is what I would give it. I mean, you do have the terror back and the horror back in this episode, and the tension. But Eugene, Abraham, and Rosita, I don't really feel like they were handled correctly. I mean, they had their moments that were good, but overall they weren't really handled correctly. But yeah, I mean, it does seem to get darker in the season so far. So that's basically it. Remember to subscribe, comment below. Subscribe. I also do other Walking Dead discussion topics, reviews. I also review movies, other TV shows, and comics. So I'm on The Walking Dead. So yeah, comment below on this episode so far. And what do you think about Abraham, Eugene, and Rosita? What do you think Terminus is going to be? And that's basically it for this review. This is Daniel Mart signing off. Whatever.